Shalom, shalom, shalom.
Yeah, shalom, people. We're gonna call this one Battle of the Sexes. Yeah, it's our Shabbat, so we're just saying Shabbat Shalom and all praise to the Most High
Shabbat
Yahuwah
shalom.
and our glorious Savior Yahushua Mashiach. And it's just a bit of, and I don't even mean to sound ignorant. I expect a lot of people to know what some people don't know, but we're starting to realize that there's a big shift in it, and there's a big battle between man and woman, and it's getting worse. And I think in the nation of Yasharel, who I know we identify as, and those people who are the descendants of people that were in the transatlantic slave trade that was sold and scattered to the four corners of the earth, as it speaks about Deuteronomy 28. So if you're not sure of that, and you're not sure of your history and your knowledge of your history, I'd say to read the book of Deuteronomy, but when you get to chapter 28, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. But it's just speaking from this perspective of how do we reverse certain things that have happened and been passed down. So it's kind of like a generational curse, this thing, and we actually look at it from a wider perspective. But I think what happens is people look and say, oh, slavery was all these hundreds of years ago, and it wasn't. I'm saying, and I sat down and spoke to my granddad, and my granddad said his parents' parents were slaves. So I'm saying, all right then. So from slavery, we've got my granddad's parents, my granddad, my dad, and then me. That's 4 generations. I've never met my granddad's parents. They died before, so I got my granddad to tell me what was going on. My granddad's in his 80s, my dad's in his 60s, and yeah, I'm here now. So when you look at it from that perspective, it hasn't been that long, and it to break this cycle. So we've been looking at a book called Breaking the Curses of Willie Lynch, and it's just going through it. And yeah, you can buy it on Amazon. It's not that pricey, but it's not. And I'm not saying people you can just read the Willie Lynch letter and start breaking it down yourself. I'm not telling you to go and purchase anything, but as the Most High says, study to show yourself approved. So it's just for me to really, not just myself like that, but also as brothers, we're sitting down and thinking, all right then, because we have to look at our own lives and reflect and think, how have we been in relationships and we had to deal with certain issues, firstly within ourselves, so we can talk about the men when we speak about the absent fathers in our culture then, which wasn't before, but it's so prevalent now. What changed? Because we know that we're the biblical Israelites, as they call us, but we know we're Yasharel. So we know that's who we are. We lived a certain type of way before. What happened to make us become the way we are now? Now we know there's a lot of influences within the world, music, TV, popular culture, call it what you want to call it. But brother here come from Jamaica, talking to me today, and when I let him speak about when he's 12 years old, what man are talking to him about and what man are trying to show him.
Yeah, well, even that, when you look at it, growing up in Jamaica in the 90s, you realize that generation, even from the 80s, that generation of people, it's not just about a relationship. It's about how many women I can deal with, how many times have I dealt with different women and stuff like that. And that was the mentality. That was your idol. And it was an idol, and it still is, even up until this day. When you look at it, the profanity within the culture right now in Jamaica is it's basically porn. That's what it is, when it never used to be like that. Because when you realize 90s and even 80s, reggae was actually, you say, the more loving and the caring part. Dancehall was more about the sound system and more about the dance, the music, and you go up there, you grab a one thing, or whatever. Now, it's just pure profanity. But even when growing up, I realized that we never had the internet then. What you had was a thing called Playboy magazine. So, exactly, then Playboy magazine, right, top shelf, you can't get it. We call them big lads, but lads were older than us. Like, say, for instance, college lads or high school guys were we in primary school or infant school would have these magazines and had to pay to watch and see these things. And then, even if you're like, oh no, I don't want it, that, look on it, man, look on it. You need to see it, like, look. But when you realize how I've looked back at certain things, it wasn't even Yahshua woman we were seeing the other nations of women. You know what I mean? So now, when you look at the whole cycle, switched around, whereas Yahshua women now are doing the things while the other nation women are doing. It's just taking that's that's total big cycle and change. So that's just a little bit of thing, but we're gonna dive into this book and see what they actually said about it.